Hello, friends of Golf Course Quality Fertilizer. Well, I hope your irrigation systems are working and you've played out with them a little bit. I hope you haven't played with them too much. I've only watered once so far this year. I hope most of you are only like once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, but I hope you hadn't watered much more than 3 times. If you have, that means you're not watering enough, or you're watering without knowing if the grass needs the water or not. So you got to be careful on what you're doing. If you're over watering or the ground's staying too wet for too long, you're going to have more weeds, diseases, weird grasses you can't get rid of. You're going to grow more grass. You're going to run through fertilizer more. So try to not water as much as you can get away with not watering. Try to get away with it. At the same time, when we do water, we want to make it worth our while. And so we want to make sure that we give it a full drink, like minimum ½ inch of watering. And that requires an hour and 15 minutes for rotary heads and 25 minutes for pop-up misters. And so that's minimum. So I rather you shoot for 3/4 of an inch, which is about 2 hours per rotating zone, and like 45 minutes for the pop-up misters. But in most cases, people can't do that for some reason or another. Say you have 10 zones, you're like, there's no way it'd be a 20-hour cycle. Well, that's true. You'll probably have to take first 5, do it one night from midnight to 10, and the next 5 from midnight to 10 is the only way you can achieve that. But if you're just doing 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you're just barely getting by. And then the roots from below, where that water is barely soaking in, all your roots you worked for all year long last year in the fall are going to start shrinking up and dying off and sloughing off is what we call it, a summer slough off of roots. And so you're going to lose a bunch of roots down there, which then become thatch, because roots, crowns, and stems make thatch, and it's going to make it worse. So we don't want to do that. We want to go ahead and give it a nice deep drink to really give the plant all the water it needs to sustain. Then we can go multiple days without watering, and then it will get less diseases, less weeds coming in, all kinds of fun stuff, a little bit more consistent growing. So really try to focus on getting 1.5 inches at this time of year per week with 2 or 3 watering events. All right, so that's with irrigation systems. If you're using a hose, you got to double all those numbers, right? So if you're going after a ½ inch, it has to be for 3 hours. You have to run that thing for 3 hours in each zone. And so on Monday, yesterday, I stuck my hoses everywhere, let them run for 3 hours. Maybe some went for 4. You can't really overdo it, especially with sandy soil in my situation. You can't get diseases because there's no way I can put enough water by hoses down to keep it so wet, unless I was out here all the time, to get diseases. So it's kind of nice only having a hose, because I'm forced to water, deep and infrequent. Irrigation systems, it's real easy to go click, click, and turn that on. So how do we know when we actually need to water and how far apart? You got to find these, what we call indicator spots in your lawn. Everybody knows where the area that starts to dry out first and go, oh man, I need to turn on my irrigation system. And most of the time they'll go over and they'll turn it on, and it is going to water a steady, amount all the time, no matter if it rains or falls or anything, just every other day or whatever it is. But I actually use that indicator spot to determine how long I can get away with not watering. And so then I'll water really good when I see that indicator spot, even if it's middle of the day. By the way, I don't know where people came up with middle of the day watering is dangerous. Well, if you're on a golf course and you're watering a green and you're flooding the green out, sure, that's going to be dangerous, because it's only an 1/8 of an inch tall grass. And so the water can pool up there and magnify and superheat that soil, right? If the temperature is warm enough. It's all about temperatures, by the way. If you're pulling out of a pond, you can't water in the middle of the day. It's too hot of water. Out of the lake, it's 80-degree water. You can't water middle of the day because it's too hot. So it's all about temperatures. If you're watering from a hose through a well that's 50-degree water, you can water all day long. It's never going to hurt it in a home lawn where you're throwing water in. It's going to sink down. It's 50 degrees. It's going to actually cool the soil. And so if you can over water with a well and burn out some grass, I'd love to see it, because in 35 years I've never seen it, and I water in the middle of the day all the time. Now, that being said, is it efficient? Well, no, it's not efficient, but it might be my only option. So say I see my indicator spot, it starts turning purple, or I'm walking on it and it's not bouncing back up. That means that it's lost its water and it needs it now. I'll put that hose out right now and let it water for 3 hours in that zone and start moving it around, because I know everywhere else is gonna need it right behind that indicator spot, right? And so then I watch that indicator spot for the days following. I start to see it look a little stressed again, and I'm like, ooh, that was about 3 days. Now I can be more predictive on what I need to do, how often I might need to water that area to keep up with it, right? And I stressed, people try to use very long cycles, deep soaking, what I call a full saturation irrigation cycle, and see how long that lasts. You might be quite surprised how much better your plants are gonna look, how long they last that way, how much easier it is, you know, the days following, when after you've watered, to play in the yard and not having it being sloppy wet. And so those kind of things are really important. Another thing to think about, and this is really important, mowing and watering are the two most important things on your lawn. If you want a good lawn, you gotta water right, you gotta mow right. If you don't do those two things right, you can buy all the amazing fertilizers in the world, but if you're not doing those things right, your yard's not gonna look good. And a yard can never look like carpet, so don't have that kind of an expectation. But still, you know, you want to do the right things on the daily basis, or everything else is going to fall apart. And so what you want to do is, on hot days, make sure you're mowing late evening. That way it's not left with open grass blades just pouring the water out all day long. You mow in the morning on a hot, dry day, and boy, you're going to have to water sooner, right? And for those city people who have city water and got to pay money, big money, for their water, they want it to work as efficient as possible. So mow in the evenings. That always helps a lot. And then you're watering in the mornings. That way that water can last as long as it can. If you have to water midday, that's just the way it is. Don't water late evening. Then the grass will stay wet all night long, right? And if we have more than 12 hours of wet leaves on the grass and everything above's leaves, right, then we can get diseases. So you got to be careful about the different things, timing things out, deep watering cycle, mowing properly, sharp blades so it gives a good clean cut. All these things can really improve your lawn. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a good summer. Good summer, but also Rachel helped remind me, I'm glad she paused the video, but don't mow your turf when it's stressed, right? So if you're feeling it being crunchy, don't even touch it. If you don't have an irrigation system and you have no way to water it, let it go until it rains. Otherwise, you're literally gonna snap off all those blades and make it all crunchy, and it's gonna be way worse. So don't mow drought stressed turf, very important, okay? Thanks for listening.